Hey guys, I appreciate you tuning in for this episode of the Go With Your Gut podcast. And this episode, we're going to be focusing on why athletes, and actually people who care about athletic performance in general, should be placing a greater emphasis on gut health than those who aren't active. And then I'll give you a few out-of-the-box tips to actually improve your athletic performance. So be sure to stay tuned. Thanks again, guys, for tuning into this episode of the Go With Your Gut podcast, where I really wanted us to focus on how to be more in tune with those gut instincts and our spiritual actions that we're being called to do to actually make positive changes to ourselves, our family, our community, and the world around us. And today, I'm going to do that by helping those of you who are active in sports to actually increase your energy levels, jump higher, run farther, and lift more. And we're going to do that really by focusing on our gut. You know, most athletes I know rarely give consideration to their guts, but they actually should. I was recently watching an OKC Thunder game and was really appreciating how the players from both teams were playing so hard. And as I was watching, my mind inevitably drifted to the thought of really how many of those players out there knew that much about gut health. How many of them actually put forth effort to get their digestion into tip-top shape? And then how many of them knew how closely their gut is actually tied to their athletic performance? Now, I know I'm a geek, I'm a nerd, of course, but I'm also fascinated with the gut health of athletes and how they could actually use it to reach higher highs. The digestive system actually plays a predominant role in how you compete during an athletic event, how you handle stress, how quickly you recover, your mood, whether you have enough energy to complete it, and how your body metabolically actually processes the nutrients. It all comes down to how well and how effective your gut is. The way our body works is that in order to accomplish a strenuous task, i.e. an athletic event, your body needs energy to do it. And where do we get that energy? We get it from foods, of course. But how does our body convert that food into energy? And that's through gut health and digestion. So if you try to eat foods that go to assist that, then why wouldn't you do everything in your power to actually ensure that your body maximizes the energy from the foods that you eat? Think of it this way. Let's say that you have 1,000 calories of foods available to play a soccer game, a full soccer game, and your body is able to only use, let's say, 500 of those calories because of digestion issues. Now, there are two things that happen in that scenario. One, you are 500 calories short of optimal performance. That means lethargy, low energy, and not meeting maximal performance. And then two, you have 500 calories that's not being used and ends up being stored away. That's where most people are. They're the active type, but have that extra little bit of fat stored away, and they don't really know how to get rid of it. So how do you use that other 500 calories? And ultimately, that's through better gut health and digestion. So how can we make that happen? But before we get into that, would you do me a huge favor and just click that like button there? It actually helps this podcast get seen, but it also lets me know that these are some topics that are of interest to you. And then while you're down there, if you haven't already, to the right of that, there's like a subscribe button or a subscribe bell. Please hit that and then turn on post notifications so that you can be updated every time I upload a podcast a couple of times a week. It would mean the world to me. Now, if you've followed me for any length of time, you've probably heard me say this many times before, but there are actually more bacterial cells in our bodies than there are human cells. So technically that makes you and me more bacteria than human. And when you add to it that every person's DNA is unique, there's lots of bodily interactions that can occur. But actual athletic performance can be a bit different, mainly in its relationship to using either fats or carbohydrates as fuel and energy. And without good bacteria to properly regulate which is used, it's easy to see how an athlete can either become lethargic and sluggish without having the proper nutrients, or crashing and burning during an event. I'm sure you've probably been there before. So what's the key? What causes an athlete or somebody that's trying to perform athletically to fall short of expectations due to how they feel physically? As it relates to gut health, in most instances, it comes from good intentions. And eating quote-unquote clean sugars and starches to be used as energy during athletic events is great, but I found that there's actually a missing component to unlocking that energy, and that's the lack of probiotic diversity, and then having foods for the probiotics to thrive and live off of inside of your gut. So if you're an athlete, an aspiring athlete, or Joe the gym guy, do me a favor, make it a pact to take a week or two to really focus on gut health. And if you do what all of those other websites and all of the other trainers and the nutritionists say to eat and what you should do, and then you additionally consume prebiotics and probiotics, your efforts will have nowhere to go but up. Just food for thought, folks. I'm blessed, and I'm thankful that you guys listen to this podcast. And wherever you're watching or listening to this, make sure that you click that like button and then tap the subscribe button and share it with your clan. It would mean the world. Thanks again, guys.